In the news, Ondo State Executive Council members reaffirmed commitment to Governor Akeredolu's government. Muslim cleric charges Ondo journalists to uphold professional ethics. Federal government to sanction employers over indecent working conditions. And from the foreign scene, Israel resumes Gaza bombing after truce expired. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news at 7 on Osrc television. I am Oyewumi Ayinibara. Members of the Ondo State Executive Council have reaffirmed the commitment of the Akeredolu administration to using all available resources to make life better for the people of the state. The State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Mrs. Bamidele Ademola Olateju, while briefing journalists at the end of the State Executive Council meeting in Akure, said council results to further sustain and improve policy measures for the vulnerable to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole now completes the story.
About noon, members of the Ondo State Executive Council arrived at the governor's office for the State Executive Council meeting. The arrival of the Deputy Governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, at the escort chambers of the governor's office signaled the official commencement of the meeting. The business of the day commenced immediately after the opening formalities. Briefing journalists at the end of the meeting, the State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Bamidele Ademola Olateju, said Ondo State became the first state to approve the payment of 35,000 naira wage award with effect from November.
Agreement has been reached with labor palliative 35,000 to workers in the state, and that will be paid from this month.
The Information Commissioner also added that the council was briefed on the outcome of the peace meeting held with President Bola Tinubu in Abuja.
We discussed as one family, and the key decisions were spelled out for those who were not there. And these are the key decisions that was reached in Abuja that we discussed among ourselves. One, that there must be peace, and with all parties must embrace peace. Two, that status quo should remain in the state. That the governor is still governor and the deputy governor is deputy governor. That there should be no dissolution of the State Executive Council. That the party structure should not be touched in the state. And that the leadership of the State House of Assembly should remain intact. And that the President requested for a letter of resignation from the Deputy Governor, signed but undated. We discussed among ourselves, we all agreed to embrace peace.
On the alleged forging of the signature of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu to loot the state resources, the commissioner debunked the news. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, religious bodies, and other stakeholders have been urged to join hands in bringing HIV/AIDS to zero level in Ondo State come 2030. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu made the call at the program organized to commemorate the 2023 World AIDS Day in Akure, stating that his administration places high premium on the improved living standard of people of the state, most especially those living with HIV/AIDS. Osrc's Joy Pius reports that the theme for this year's event is Communities, Leadership to End AIDS by 2030.
In commemoration of this year's World AIDS Day, the Ondo State Agency for the Control of AIDS, Osrc, held several awareness campaigns sensitizing the public. Is this candle night's procession, a night set aside to honor those who died from HIV-related disease.
I have a loving mother just over in glory land.
The project manager of Osrc, Dr. Dayo Adegbulu, who noted that this year's celebration is the 35th, appreciated every stakeholders who had contributed to the fight against the virus.
They said the fight against HIV and AIDS is about change. Change is not about a movement, it's a movement. And if we all come together, if we all recognize that the epidemic is still with us, and we continue to create awareness concerning HIV and AIDS, we will surely win the fight against HIV and AIDS.
The Ondo State Agency for the Control of AIDS, Osrc, was joined by major stakeholders in the state as they trooped out en masse to the streets of Akure to sensitize the public on the need to be aware of the pandemic and stay safe. Dr. Adegbulu stated that the awareness should not only be held every 1st of December, craving a continued advocacy to stem the tide.
Change is not about the moment, it's about the movement. So let us not finish the awareness today. We're starting another round of awareness today. And when we trek, it's about creating awareness. And when we live here, it's not about going to sleep. It's about asking ourselves questions. What am I doing about HIV and AIDS? Am I contributing to the spread of the virus? Or am I preventing new infections in Ondo State?
The head of service, Kayode Ogundele, Commissioner for Health, Banji Ajaka, represented by Permanent Secretary Folukemi Aladenola, said the day is critical to the civil service of Ondo State, while assuring of government's support for any worker discovered to be positive.
HIV/AIDS is not a death sentence on anybody. We want all to know that raising awareness on this very important, what do we call it, disease, is just helping ourselves.
Awareness was created today. Do not just stop at that. Once you are tested positive, don't just know that that is not the end of the world. Let me say that for the government of Ondo State and for Ministry of Health, we are well positioned to make sure that you continue to live a very good life.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by Secretary to the State Government, Princess Oladuniodo, stated that the well-being of the people of Ondo State is of paramount importance to the governor, emphasizing the need for practice of safe sex. She appreciated efforts of all stakeholders in the fight of the disease, calling for more advocacy.
Today's event represents another opportunity to remind ourselves of our commitment towards the fight against and elimination of HIV/AIDS. We must work tirelessly if we intend to win the fight against HIV/AIDS. We must match our commitment with necessary resources and world best practices, coupled with strategic action in line with this year's celebration.
It is believed that efforts such as this will no doubt go a long way in eradicating HIV/AIDS come 2030. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
Journalists have been charged to always verify their stories before disseminating such to Nigerians. Chief Imam Khalid Fahim Akure, Sheikh Yunus Anola made this call at the Thanksgiving service of the Nigerian Union of Journalists NUJ in the State Council as part of the activities of its Press Week. Sheikh Anola, while enjoining journalists to uphold professional ethics, said the old vital position in society hence should not be toyed with. NUJ chairman in the state, Leke Adigute, in his response said journalists in Ondo State have been above board in discharging their duties. He assured that journalists in the state will never betray the trust of the people